Hey everyone, today I'm going to do some commentary over one of my guild's heroic 25-man Professor Putricide kills as a tank. So let's just get right into it. Phase 1's pretty easy. Basically, we're pulling him off to the side here just so our slime bottles kind of go off to the side by this area where the green ooze is going to spawn out of. The A-bomb should get a Blessing of Might immediately. That'll increase its damage. And as a main tank on this fight, you're pretty much just putting this in a good position for the A-bomb to do damage while also trying to stay in an area where it doesn't hinder the DPS at all. So we tank it next to slime pools so the A-bomb can slurp up the slime while they're doing big damage. Now we move over to the green ooze when that spawns. It's important that the A-bomb does not slow this first green ooze because there's not much going on in phase 1. It's really not important for it to be slowed. And if they use the slow there, they won't be able to do 2 slows immediately on the transition phase. Here we're pushing to try to beat the next ooze spawn. So we're going right into the transition. If your damage is a little bit lower, you may need to just call for a stop to DPS there and wait for the orange juice to spawn before you push. So now we have a transition phase where 2 oozes spawn. You can see I'm the orange color, but I initially stacked on the green ooze just to help reduce damage. This is also a really good time to throw your Divine Sacrifice if you're a prop ally, right before like a green ooze is going to explode. And make sure you call out when this orange ooze is like switching color because a lot of people, like you'll see there, our hunter actually got hit by it. A lot of people will just miss that and get hit by it. So as a tank, just kind of like be aware of that. Just call that out for your DPS because a lot of times they will miss that. Then once you clean up those oozes, you're just getting on Putricide. He's going to have some new abilities here. He's going to have Malleable Goo. He'll throw that at the range. You can see those oozes going out right now. And Choking Gas Bomb. So that's what we just moved out of. The Choking Gas Bomb drops right on top of Putricide. And it'll do some damage and reduce hit by like 75% or something like that for 20 seconds. So it's important that you move away from that quick so your melee don't get hit by that. And anytime you're moving, also pay attention to Malleable Goo. These oozes getting thrown out. They're going to do damage and give a huge hasty buff at the point they blow up at. That'll only be thrown at ranged, but if you're moving, you can easily just accidentally move into one of those that's already been thrown out because you'll move faster than them a lot of the time. So just really keep an eye on that. Make sure you're never moving into that. And anytime choking gas spawns, we're trying to drop that away from the raid so other people don't have to move if we can. And stacking up again on the green ooze. Again, we're just kind of trying to tank by slime anytime we can. If there's a green ooze up, we're tanking by that. There was like a malleable coming towards me there, so that's why I kind of went off to the side. And then I saw the choking gas timer was coming up, so I waited with him over there, let him drop it off to the side. Then I move over here to the slime puddle, so our A-bomb can do max damage. You can see he's actually the #1 damage by a lot. He's 50% higher than our next highest damage, so it's really important that you give the A-bomb a chance to do damage because they will just pump on this fight. They will be your #1 damage. And then this one I think was kind of a bad drop. I was a little worried about our holy pie there, so I like threw a hand to sag. I wasn't really paying attention. I dropped choking gas in a bad spot there. Middle of the room, not really a great spot to be dropping that. Generally try to drop it on the outside of this ring is like kind of a good marker to look for. So here he's going to transition at 35%. So at 38%, I'm calling a damage stop. So we can kill this ooze and then we're going to push. So here, choking gas is about to drop again too. So we want to drop that over here away from people, not move in with them and drop it like on top of all these melee over here. So I drop it off to the side. And here, I'm not too worried about going over to the A-bomb right now because we're about to phase. Putricide's going to stop moving. We just want to get that phase transition. And here we're always going on the green ooze. Even when I have the orange buff, I just try to help soak it. Sometimes I will move over to the orange if it looks like there's enough people soaking on the green already, but it just splits the damage amongst everybody it hits. So it's important that there's a good amount of people on green so that it goes, splits amongst a large number of people. And here we have phase three. So in this phase, it's this debuff mutated plague. This is really important to manage well. If this isn't managed well, it's just going to be a wipe. This is the most important mechanic here. He's going to continue to do choking gas bomb, malleable goo, put slime puddles on the ground, which now there's no A bomb to, suck those up. So those will slowly fill up the room too. As the Putricide tank, which in this case, a lot of different people are going to be tanking Putricide. So when it is your turn to tank it, just be aware of choking gas bomb and slime puddles. Those are the only times you're going to move if slime puddles or choking gas bomb are hindering your melee. So as soon as choking gas bomb drops, you move the boss. If a slime puddle is on melee, you move the boss just enough so they have room to not be in a slime puddle but attack the boss from behind. For mutated plague, the way it works, it does 200% more compounding damage each stack. So if you have one person with 2 stacks of it and one person with 1 stack, that will deal half the damage of one person with 3 stacks. That's how big of a difference, like having one person with 3 stacks versus having one person with 2 and one person with 1 is. Even though that's the same total number of stacks, just the way the compounding damage works, it just absolutely goes through the roof. So our goal is to never have more than 2 people with 3 stacks. It's all right to have 1, but having 2 or 3 stacks really ramps up the damage. You can even potentially have nobody with 3 stacks. With the way we do it, we do eventually have somebody with 3 stacks, but it's toward the very end of the fight. So how we're going to do this, I'm going to take 2 stacks here. And I like to wall immediately here too, because he actually hits really, really quick, like 1.2 second swing timer. And the healers are still getting in position and stuff from transition. So I always wall like right when I get up to him. And I'm actually not going to be tanking the boss again for the rest of the fight. So that's a great time to wall right there because I'm not tanking him again anyway. So you can see there, he dropped choking gas bomb right on the table. I moved for that. We have a slime puddle right here. We don't really need to move right away for this because it's off to the side. The melee do have room back here. So this doesn't necessarily need to be moved much here. And I've taken 2 stacks now. So next up is going to be our Fury Warrior taunting for a stack. So here I've bopped him and then he's going to taunt for this. So here he taunts and he's going to get 1 stack of mutated plague. It's really important to have like non-tanks getting some taunting. Then our next up is our Feral Druid. He's bear spec, but in like all cat gear, I believe. He's going to take 2 stacks and we're going to use cooldowns on him. So we've got a pain sub on him right now, and my Hand of Sack is about to come back up too. And then I'm going to throw that on him. So he takes his first stack right there, and I throw the Hand of Sack on him. Then we're again just slowly moving. Look how little we've already moved. We only move if we need to. You don't want to like over move on this boss. Right now we should be moving a little quicker because I think some people were taking slime puddle damage there. But that's perfect right there. We drop the choking gas right on the side there and give enough room so that nobody's going to get hit by the choking gas at all. Then after our Feral Druid gets his 2 stacks, then our Blood DK is going to take 3. So this is the only time anybody's taking 3 stacks in this fight. And you can see our damage was pretty good here. The boss is already at 3.9%, and our Blood DK is only just hit 2 stacks. So we don't even have anybody in the raid at 3 stacks right now. And the boss is almost dead. So just little moves only if slime puddles or choking gas bombs have dropped. And when you're not currently tanking the boss, make sure you turn off like Righteous Fury, Defensive Stance, all that kind of increased threat regen stuff. So you can just sit behind the boss, pump with the DPS, don't have to worry about threat at all. So here we're just finishing off the boss. Our Blood DK finally gets his third stack right when the boss dies. After that, we were going to have a Fury Warrior taunt the next stack of it. And by then, the boss should definitely be dead if it's, not already dead just from our Blood DK. There's like a million ways you can do this final phase, and it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. The main things to consider when you're picking like DPS to take stacks are how they're going to survive. Generally, you can just throw a bop on them. If that's not an option, you don't have enough bops, whatever, then they can run like shield wall, shield block, and probably like a hand of sack as well if they're like a Fury Warrior. If they're like a DK, they can run, Icebound Fortitude plus probably Hand of Sack as well. Keep in mind that taunts are spell hit also. So for extra safety, you could have them just glyph taunt if that's their job. But there are classes that will just have a lot of spell hit anyway. So like an Unholy DK can be a good reliable taunt. A Balanced Druid can be a good reliable taunt. You can also use like AoE taunts as well. The whole key to this final phase is just making sure you have a plan for the Mutated Plague ahead of time. And the core parts of this plan are that you only ever have at most one person with 3 stacks of Mutated Plague, and you're gonna need to have some DPS taunting some of the Mutated Plagues to make that happen. So whatever you decide to do, just make sure ahead of time there is a plan. If you go into this final phase with no plan of how to deal with the Mutated Plague, it's probably just going to be a wipe. This is one of the tougher fights in ICC, but as long as you come in with a plan of how you're going to deal with that Mutated Plague, it shouldn't take you too long to get a kill. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next one.